Julian Reed walked through the park at dusk, his 4-year-old daughter Sophie's hand tucked safely in his own. At 36, he built a software empire that had made him wealthy beyond measure. But his real treasure was the little girl skipping beside him, asking endless questions about everything she saw. They were heading back to his car after an evening at the playground when Sophie suddenly stopped and pointed at a park bench beneath the golden glow of a street lamp. "Daddy, why is she sleeping on the bench?" Julian followed her gaze and felt his heart constrict. A young woman, maybe 27, lay curled on the wooden bench, her arms wrapped around a tiny infant bundled in what looked like layers of her own clothing. She wore a thin beige dress, completely inadequate for the autumn chill, and even from a distance, Julian could see she was shivering. "Sometimes people don't have homes, sweetheart," Julian said quietly, trying to find words a 4-year-old could understand. "But it's cold, Daddy, and she has a baby. Babies need to be warm." "That's what you always say." Sophie was right, of course. Julian looked at the woman again, saw the way she held the infant protectively, even in sleep, and felt something pull at him. "Wait here by the tree, Sophie. I'm going to check if she's okay." Julian approached the bench quietly, not wanting to startle the woman. As he got closer, he could see she was younger than he'd thought, with blonde hair falling across her pale face. The baby in her arms couldn't be more than a few weeks old. "Excuse me," Julian said softly. "Are you all right?" The woman's eyes flew open, and she sat up with a gasp, clutching the baby tighter. Fear flooded her face as she looked at Julian, clearly preparing to run if needed. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you," Julian said quickly, holding up his hands. "My daughter noticed you were sleeping out here with your baby. We wanted to make sure you were okay." The woman's shoulders sagged slightly, though wariness remained in her eyes. "We're fine. Please, just leave us alone. It's going to be below freezing tonight. You and your baby can't stay out here. We don't have anywhere else to go." Her voice broke on the words. "The shelters are all full. I've tried everywhere." Julian's chest tightened. "What's your name?" "Melissa. My baby is Emma. She's 3 weeks old." Sophie appeared at Julian's side, despite his instructions to stay back. She looked up at Melissa with concern. "Why don't you have a home?" Sophie asked with the blunt honesty of childhood. "Sophie, that's not polite," Julian started, but Melissa managed a sad smile. "It's okay. I lost my apartment after I couldn't work anymore. I was pregnant and got too sick. Lost my job, couldn't pay rent. My family disowned me when I refused to give up my baby. So here we are." She looked down at the infant in her arms with fierce love. "But Emma's worth it. She's worth everything." Sophie tugged on Julian's sleeve. "Daddy, we have lots of rooms at our house. Can they stay with us, please? The baby needs to be warm." Julian looked between his compassionate daughter, the desperate mother, and the innocent newborn, and knew he couldn't walk away. "Sophie's right. We have space. Please, let me help you. Just for tonight. Somewhere warm and safe for you and Emma." Melissa shook her head. "I can't accept that. You're a stranger. It wouldn't be safe. I understand your concern. My name is Julian Reed. I can show you ID, give you references, whatever you need to feel safe. But your baby is 3 weeks old, and it's freezing. Please." Melissa looked at Emma, then at Sophie's earnest face, then back at Julian. Finally, she nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Okay, just for tonight. Thank you." Julian led them to his car, a luxury sedan that made Melissa's eyes widen. Sophie insisted on sitting in back with Melissa, chattering about her toys in her room, and how excited she was to have a baby in the house. "You have a beautiful daughter," Melissa said quietly to Julian as he drove. "Thank you. Her mother died when she was a baby. It's been just the two of us for years. I'm sorry. That must have been incredibly hard." "It was. But Sophie gave me a reason to keep going." "I see the same thing in your eyes when you look at Emma." Julian's house was a modern estate in an upscale neighborhood. Melissa hesitated as they pulled into the driveway. "I don't belong here," she whispered. "Tonight you do. You and Emma both. Inside." Julian's housekeeper, Mrs. Chen, helped Melissa settle into a guest room with an attached bathroom. Julian had clothing brought up, arranged for baby supplies to be delivered, and ordered food while Melissa showered for the first time in days. When she emerged, clean and wearing warm clothes, she looked younger and more vulnerable than ever. She held Emma carefully as Sophie showed her the house. Over dinner, Melissa's full story emerged. She'd been studying to be a nurse when she got pregnant. The baby's father had left immediately. Her conservative family had given her an ultimatum: give up the baby or be disowned. She'd chosen Emma. "I tried so hard to make it work," Melissa said, tears streaming as she held Emma. "I worked until I physically couldn't anymore. Applied for every assistance program, but nothing came through in time, and then we were on the street." "How long have you been homeless?" Julian asked gently. 2 weeks. Since Emma was born. I had her in a free clinic, and when I was discharged, we had nowhere to go." Sophie climbed into Melissa's lap carefully, mindful of the baby. "You should stay here. We have lots of room, and Daddy's really nice, and I always wanted a sister." Julian met Melissa's eyes over Sophie's head. "She has a point. Not about staying permanently without discussion, but about having room." "Melissa, I'd like to help if you'll let me. I can't just stay in your house. That's too much. Then consider it temporary housing while we figure out long-term solutions. My foundation helps families in crisis. Job placement, housing assistance, child care support. Let me connect you with resources." "Why are you doing this? You don't know me." Julian looked at Sophie, who was gently touching Emma's tiny hand, with wonder. "Because my daughter asked why someone was sleeping on a bench, and I couldn't give her an answer that made sense. Because I have resources that can help, and it seems wrong not to use them. Because Sophie's right that we have room." Over the next weeks, Melissa and Emma stayed in Julian's home. Julian arranged for pediatric care for Emma, helped Melissa apply for assistance programs, connected her with job training resources. But more than the practical help, something deeper was developing. Sophie adored baby Emma, helping feed her, singing to her, fetching diapers with the seriousness of a sworn duty. Melissa, in turn, showed Sophie the gentle attention of a mother figure she'd been missing. And Julian found himself looking forward to coming home, to the laughter and life that filled his previously quiet house. 3 months after that night in the park, Julian found Melissa in the kitchen late one evening, Emma asleep in her arms. "I got the nursing program acceptance today," Melissa said softly. "Full scholarship. Childcare assistance included. I can actually finish my degree. That's wonderful. I'm so proud of you. It's because of you. All of this. You saved us, Julian. Sophie saved you. She's the one who insisted we stop." Melissa smiled. "She gets her compassion from somewhere. From you." Julian took a breath. "Melissa, I need to tell you something. These past months, having you and Emma here, it's changed everything. Sophie's happier than I've ever seen her. The house feels like a home instead of a museum. And I've realized that I don't want you to leave." Julian, not proposing or declaring love or anything that would make you uncomfortable. "I'm just saying that whatever this is we're building, I'd like to keep building it. You finishing nursing school while living here, us raising the girls together, figuring out what we mean to each other without pressure or timelines. What do you think?" Melissa's eyes filled with tears. "I think Sophie asked you why I was sleeping on a bench, and you didn't just walk away. I think you've shown me and Emma more kindness than anyone in my life. I think I'm falling in love with you, and terrified to admit it." Julian crossed the kitchen and gently cupped her face. "Don't be terrified. We'll figure it out together." 2 years later, Julian and Melissa were married in a small ceremony in the same park where they'd met. Sophie served as flower girl, proudly holding Emma's hand as the toddler tottered down the aisle. In his vows, Julian told the story of Sophie's question. "My daughter asked why someone was sleeping on a bench, and I realized I didn't have a good answer. The only real answer was that we as a society had failed. But Sophie didn't accept that answer. She insisted we help. And in helping you, we found our family." He looked at Melissa and Emma. "You taught me that wealth without compassion is worthless. That a house isn't a home until it's filled with people who love each other. That sometimes the best things in life come from the questions children ask, that we're brave enough to answer with action. Melissa took his hand. I was sleeping on a bench because I'd lost everything except Emma. But I hadn't lost everything. I still had hope, however small. And then a little girl noticed me, and her father chose kindness, and we built something beautiful from that broken moment. Sophie raised her juice glass solemnly. I told Daddy we should help. And now, we're a family. So always help people, even if they're strangers, because they might become your family too.